That one can go there. All right. I found a talk under there somewhere. So this is the fourth Sunday of January, and traditionally in our Science of Mind churches, we do the first 4 chapters of the textbook, which are what it is, how to use it, where to go with it, and all that. But they did something a little different where they took certain chapters of the textbook, and this is chapter 20, What the Mystics Have Taught. So it's a little different. This isn't a talk I've given before, so here we go. First off, this being the last week in January brings an understanding of what Dr. Ernest Holmes called the golden thread of truth that lies within all spiritual teachings. So what Dr. Ernest Holmes did is he studied the world's religions, and he pulled all of the best parts or that resonated with him and also were similar into the synthesis that we call Science of Mind, Religious Science, Centers for Spiritual Living. That's what we teach, which is great because he did all this work. He did all this work to study all these religions and, pulled some of the great truths out of it. So, are you a mystic? Yes. Well, let me put it to you this way. If you found yourself here this morning, chances are you're at least a mystic in training. Because if you were happy with other teachings, you would be there. But either something alienated you from it, or maybe you had too much of it as a kid, and you wanted to find something that worked for you as an adult. And this is really adult teaching for kids. Think if somebody had told you when you were before kindergarten that you were a mystic. You are a mystic. I'd go, whoa. Really? Yes. Everybody is. Everyone is chosen, but few choose. Everyone who believes that there is something beyond this physical realm, especially religious scientists, are mystics. Now, you may have not had a grand revelation yet of something, in your next book. Maybe you'll put it in there. But are you questioning why you're here? Yeah, sure we are. I want to know. I want to know that there's a reason. Maybe there's not. Maybe this is all just for fun. So mysticism is the realization of oneness with all that is. Do you have that realization? Or are you striving for it? Yes. It's about oneness. That there is one power, and each one of us is part of it. What if you knew that you were a dream that the infinite is having? What a trip that is, right? Let me wrap my mind around this. Your life is a dream that the infinite is having. When we study the teachings of the mystics, we find profound similarities in their experiences. They may have come from different parts of the world, different cultures, different religions, and different time periods, but their messages are pointing to the same universal truth that we are all one with the one, as the one, the one. This is the foundation of our teaching. Mystical experiences can occur in our lives and in the most spontaneous and memorable ways. And Dr. Ernest Holmes calls it courting the presence of God. Oh, that's so sensual, isn't it? Courting the presence of God. It's a love affair with the infinite. Do you love your life? Be gentle. There was a time that I did not love my life. And that's what drew me to this teaching. This teaching draws a lot of people who think powerfully, positively. Sometimes people have challenging thoughts that are attracted to this teaching because this is a teaching that aligns our thought and gets it all in alignment. Order is God's first purpose, right? I've heard that said. But sometimes we can be out of order, can't we? Sometimes we're not knowing what the right order is. And that's okay, because we don't have to. The infinite is there to do it with us. Mystical experiences can occur in each one of our lives in the most spontaneous of ways when we court the presence of God in our spiritual practice and remain open and aware to the divine energy within all things, including ourselves. And this opens us up to the possibility of becoming everyday mystics. So you, my friend, are a mystic. You hold part of the answer to the reason the universe exists. You are key. God doesn't make any extra parts. God doesn't make any junk. You have part of the answer. And you're playing small and not putting your piece of the puzzle into the game keeps it from being complete. So we have to play with all our heart. We have to play with everything we've got. You don't want to come off the field and go, well, I could have done better. I had another play in me, but I held back. I didn't want to show off. Or I was too tired. You want to come off the field and go, I gave it all I had, coach. I am exhausted. I need to sit out a play so I can get my breath back. Right? So what is a mystic? Ernest Holmes explains it this way. This is in our textbook on page 327.1. A mystic is not a mysterious person, but is one who has a deep inner sense of life and a unity with the whole. Do you feel that you're part of something bigger? Because you are. You are. The infinite would not be complete if you were not part of it. And sometimes, I have not felt part of it. I have not felt like I held the missing link. I thought I was the missing link, but that's a whole other story. I think I was missing a link. One of those chains that just doesn't quite go. So here's another quote from our textbook on page 419. A mystic is one who intuitively perceives truth, who without conscious mental process arrives at a spiritual realization. The mystics include the great prophets, inspired writers, the illumined souls of the ages. All the mystics have recognized the absolute unity of God and man. God as human. So you are a spiritual being having a human experience, having a spiritual experience. Interesting, isn't it? So how do mystics differ from being a psychic? Psychics can pick up on certain energies. They can pick up on certain vibrations, maybe even colors, auras. They're sensitive. Have you ever met somebody that was a sensitive? Like they just perceive things differently. Maybe you are a sensitive. I mean, If you're a mystic, you're pretty close to a sensitive because you have a different sensation than normal. It's normal is the setting on my dryer. Average. But we see things differently. We see metaphysically into this life. We know that if we're walking down the street and we're stepping over something and we happen to trip somebody who's running from the cops, that wasn't a mistake. We didn't just happen to step over something that made something else happen. We're all intertwined. There's something going on deeper here. Do you feel that you're part of that depth? Well, you are. Do you always feel like it? More and more. I'll tell you that the longer that you are in this teaching, the longer that you take classes, the more classes that you take, and the practitioners can attest to this, you just have more questions. You know, the more spiritual you become, the more you want to know more about what everything is. It just opens up more questions because we are all connected in an incredible way. So, psychics can read the energy on this plane of existence, but a mystic reads the energy of the universe, which is part of it, isn't it? It's being psychic on a metaphysical realm where answers come to you, energy comes to you, ideas come to you, solutions come to you, healing becomes you. Whatever it is that you're working with, there's a healing that's part of it. It wouldn't be so. You wouldn't be given the challenge without an answer being available. You know, sometimes it may take lifetimes to find that answer, but we're here for a reason. We're here not just to seek, but to find. So what's your solution? What is your silent prayer? What is yours to know that's just for you? Because we are mystics, we have direct input from the infinite. We don't have to go through a palm reader or a psychic. No, we can. Those things are different realms, different parts. But you, being a mystic, have direct access. You have a cell phone that goes directly to source energy. Isn't that cool? Hello? Scotty, beam me up. There's no intelligent life on Earth. So, how does mysticism apply to your life? Rabbi David Cooper writes in, I forget what Courting the Presence of God. We can learn about mysticism, or we can begin practicing being mystics. It is not a neither or. Learning about mystics offers us a pathway to discover the mystical life for ourselves. Science of mind and spirit is known as a philosophy of faith and a way of life. You've heard that before. We are encouraged to have daily spiritual practices in which we can court the divine presence. We need to spend time actively pursuing that which we seek. So, what is yours to know as a mystic? Are you in mystic training right now? Well, if you're in this room, you are. If you've been here for several Sundays, you're starting to know your divine connection. It's not a mistake that you found yourself into this teaching and are surrounding yourselves with people who are other mystics. You know, have you ever tried to describe this teaching to someone who is from another teaching? And you're like, well, it's kind of like, well, it's like you're a Christian, but well, it's like you're a Christ, but wait, let me rephrase this. Everyone's God, good, and have a nice day. It's not always easy to be a mystic. To see something happen in the world and immediately know the metaphysical interpretation of that, know the answer, and kind of laugh at yourself that other people don't get it. And it's okay, because they'll get it when they get it. Other teachings are doing exactly what they need to, and there's a lot of people that are really getting a lot out of that. And that's where they need to be for them. We're just seeing things differently. It's like having dyslexia, you know, or having a learning disability. It doesn't mean that you are wrong or bad. It just means you learn in a different way. It just means you have other skills that might not be looked on in this plane of existence as an asset. But what if you were to look at yourself as, my dyslexia is a definite asset. I have a whole different way of seeing the world. I mean, I read saw and say was. You know, that's just how my mind works. But there's something to being a different type of learner, isn't it? Doesn't it make this world more interesting? It's more fun when you get to also, you know, just not just read the book, but, you know, see the movie, you know? I mean, I had to do so much reading to become a minister that I got the Science of Mind textbook on DVD or CDs. And I got the Bible on DVD. That's the trip. It's a big stack of DVDs where they all acted out the Bible. And it's a trip. It's a trip. Gives you a different interpretation, that's for sure. When you want to look something up and you find the story about it, it's a trip.
So-and-so begot so-and-so.
That's right. So-and-so begot so-and-so and begot that. So a mystic is one who intuitively perceives truth and who, without conscious mental process, arrives at spiritual realization. So what happens is, you see something happen in the world, and you automatically know what it means. Let's say that someone is having a challenge with their heart. This is very generic, very basic. You might think, well, I wonder how love is working in their life. No, it's not always that way. But this points us in the right direction, doesn't it? Doesn't it give us something to look at? If someone is not hearing something correctly, what would be the metaphysical interpretation of that? Is somebody not processing information because they don't want to hear it? It's just, you know, it's just something to look at. And it's not always that way. I mean, just because we get a cold or the flu doesn't mean we've done something wrong or bad. It means we're processing something. You know, and that's one of the challenges of this teaching was, if somebody gets sick, oh, wonder what's in their consciousness. No. I wonder what they're learning. I wonder how they're growing in such an incredible way that they have taken on this experience to know something else. It's all about knowledge, right? It's all about knowing something differently. So we hold each other lightly. We hold each other up to the light. Enlightenment. Right? So take it light. I mean, this is serious, isn't it? I mean, it's a serious you want to make it. But there's got to be some levity to it. So I just want to just say that as a mystic, you need to take, when you see something, and count to 3, okay? Before you respond. Before you automatically go, oh, that's a heart thing, or that's a this, or that's a that. No, just take a step back, because it's not their thing. If you're seeing it, it's yours. You know, if I see somebody with a crooked tie, I check my tie first before I let them know, because the universe is a mirror, right? Check yourself before you wreck yourself, you know? So, you know, if you have something that's going on in your life, or if you see something that's going on in someone else's, check yourself first. Make sure you're in alignment, because that will help everyone become in alignment, won't it? You know, let's help each other. We're all each other's angels here. You know? If you see my tie is crooked, straighten your first, and then tell me my tie is crooked. A good friend will tell me my tie is crooked. You know, you're like, oh. But we need to do it lightly, with enlightenment, with love. We are each other's keepers. So, respond with love. In conclusion, reading the words of the great mystics, the teachers throughout the ages, Ernest Holmes, Jesus, Rumi, Meister Eckhart, Emma Curtis Hopkins, fill in the blank with your favorite artist, teacher, friend, relative. Follow our own spiritual practice. Follow what works for you, because it's leading you somewhere. It led you here. There is something very incredible going on in your life right now. If it weren't, you would have shuffled off this coil a long time ago, because it wouldn't be relevant to the expansion of humanity. Share what you have learned. Play your heart out and share it with somebody else. It is not complicated to play at the level of presence. But within ourselves, in the quietness of our own awareness, if we open our eyes, our ears, and our minds and our hearts, we will encounter the divine mystery. It is not most unexpected moments. It is in the everyday moments that we feel the presence. Take time to be still and to know and to practice being the mystic that you are. You are here for a reason, a big reason. Find it, live it, and laugh and dance like no one's looking. And so it is. Okay. Well, it's time to follow our teaching now and go within and remember who we are. So I invite you to bring to the forefront of your consciousness what you believe the power of creation is to you. As we look upon the evening stars, as we hear the rain on our rooftops, as we experience the waves crashing on the beach, nature points us back to itself. And we know that that power that causes nature to do what it does is also happening as who and what we are. Something is beating our heart. Something is breathing our body. Something is taking care of each one of us. And as we put our loves into that desire, as we choose what we want to be, do, or have on this plane of existence, I invite you to bring to the forefront of your consciousness of what you're working with right now. I may not know what you're walking through, but God does. What does it look like healed? Just invite that healing essence into your situation. Just invite it in. And saying, yes, healing, come in. Yes, revealing of truth, come in. Something is being known through this situation that is yours. And now that you have the wisdom and the knowledge and the mysticism that has been waiting for your recognition of it, as we give ourselves permission, it automatically is activated. Activated in a way that allows the healing to happen. All the cells in the body to go to the proper places for the healing to happen. All the things to happen in this plane of existence for healing to happen. For healing is happening right now. Each one of us is a part of our own and each other's healing. And as we invite love into the equation, love plus love equals love. It can be no other way. And when deep calls unto deep, deep answers, and deep says, yes, absolutely, you are healed, you are perfect, you are whole. So we give great thanks for that. Thank you, divine healing energy of the universe, for bringing exactly what is needed in our bodies, in our experiences, in our lives, that allow us to move through this in a mystical way, in a divinely ordained way. So we give great thanks for that healing. We give great thanks for the revealing of the truth. And we let go. We release this word directly into that power where its mysticism is done. It is done in the silence, in the quietness of our own hearts, that love happens. So we release this word directly into that living, loving law. Knowing it is so already, we affirm it by saying, and so it is. Amen. Okay.